Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India News Hour, India's voice to the world. I'm Shubhendu Ghosh, coming up in the next hour. India's External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar speaks on global rebalancing, pushes for UN Security Council reforms on day 2 of Raisina Dialogue in New Delhi. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi attends Golden Jubilee celebrations of Gujrat Cooperative Milk Marketing Federation, calls women the real backbone of dairy sector. Holy relics of Lord Buddha and his disciples reach Bangkok, will be enshrined in the Royal Palace grounds by Thailand PM tomorrow. And US lawmaker Mike Gallagher meets Taiwan's president-elect Lai Ching-te, reinforces support amid China threat. On the second day of the 9th edition of Raisina Dialogue 2024, India's External Affairs Minister, Dr. S. Jaishankar, has again called for radically reforming the United Nations Security Council. He was speaking on the session named A Tapestry of Truth, Can the Two Hemispheres Agree? The panel included Foreign Minister of Netherlands, Anke Brun Sloth, Bolivia's former President, Horst Quiroga, Diplomatic Advisor to the UAE, President Anwar bin Mohammed Gargash, and Minister of Foreign Affairs of Tanzania, January Yusuf Makamba. Dr. Jaishankar said all big issues haven't found multilateralism, though the sentiment for change is strong. Notably, there have been several calls for reforms and more balanced and responsive representation in 5-membered council.
If you take the UN, when the UN was invented, it had at least about approximately 50 members. We have 4 times the members. So it's a common sense proposition that you can't continue the same way when you have 4 times the members. We use the UN very often to illustrate that point. We've also seen, if you look at the last 5 years, all the big issues, in a way, we have not been able to find multilateral solutions. So the results are also, or the lack of results demonstrate the case for reform.
Jaishankar further emphasized on global rebalancing. India in the past decade has joined some 36 different alliances. The minister categorically said new reality is going to be more pragmatic.
I'm giving India's case now. I looked at the last decade. We have actually initiated or joined 36 different alliances or groups or coalitions or whatever it is in very different fields, from Big Cat and solar to disaster resilient and Quad. What is happening today is there's a log jam up there. So because there's a log jam up there, everybody's doing their own thing, finding their own friends, making their own groups, depicting their own issues, and creating the new reality. So the new reality is actually going to be much less disciplined. It's going to be more fragmented in many ways, but it will still be effective.
And during the conversations, Minister of Foreign Affairs and East African Cooperation of Tanzania, Yusuf Makamba, called out the double standards in application of international laws.
I don't think that the current system works for us. We see a lot of hypocrisy in the way we deal with international issues that concerns us. We see double standards in application of international law. There is tremendous mistrust in the global economic and political architecture. We know that, and people talk about rule-based order, but the two key words here are rules and order. Who makes the rule? And we think that the current setup from the beginning has been not working for us.
And for more on the Raisina Dialogue, DD India correspondent Jessica Taneja joins us live. Jessica, with reference to Dr. Jaishankar's interventions, how is the argument for UNSC reform and India's rightful place in it gaining momentum?
Well, yesterday, you might remember in his address, the Greek Prime Minister also said that we need to give up our double standards and look at countries like India, which are taking center stage when it comes to its economic output and its value. Of course, given the fact that multilateral institutions, especially the World Bank and the UNSC, have not been all-inclusive of, in fact, the Global South, and India, of course, being a prominent player now in the global economic output, certainly it has been demanding a change in the Western financial architecture and also other policy forums which are heavily westernized and do not include developing nations. Now, these are the same disputes that are also pending at the World Trade Organization as well. So, of course, the demand for these multilateral institutions to cater to the problems and issues of the developing world has become even more important. You'd recall how the explanation that has gone into why these multilateral institutions need to change. Dr. S. Jaishankar, India's foreign minister, also said that in the last decade, India has either joined or initiated 36 multilateral forums and discussions, which in itself is significant given the fact that India not emerging just as a voice of the Global South, but also gradually enforcing the change that is desperately needed, especially when it comes to institutions, world institutions dominated by the West and their architecture.
Jessica, thank you for those updates. On India-Latvia relations, Foreign Minister of Latvia, Krišjānis Kariņš, said the relationship between European Union and India is growing and developing in a very positive direction.
The diplomatic relations with India and Latvia are actually very, very good. We have an embassy here in New Delhi, and the Indian government has recently taken a decision to open up also an embassy in Riga. So the bilateral relationships are very good, and the relationship between the European Union and India is also growing and developing in a very positive direction.
Praising India's economic growth, the Latvian minister said India has an even bigger role to play in the world of diplomacy, and India is a crucial partner to EU and Latvia.
The economic development is very impressive. Of course, India is going up in the rankings of the size of the economy. Currently, it's the fifth largest economy. In a number of years, it will be third, and then second, and who knows in the future. It's extremely impressive. But also taking that economic weight, combined with its values, the democratic values, I think India has an ever bigger role to play also in world diplomacy. I think it's very important that that from Europe's side and India's side, again, that we work together based upon these values, but India is a crucial partner.
At the Raisina Dialogue, BIMSTEC Secretary General Indramani Pandey said the agreements between member states are already in place, will be adopted in the 6th summit in Thailand. He said members of Bay of Bengal Initiative for Multi-Sectoral Technical and Economic Cooperation, that's BIMSTEC, decides the priority areas for cooperation.
There are already 7 sectors of priority which member states have decided, including the very important security sector, which includes different dimensions of security. So from transnational crime, terrorism to maritime security. And there are different mechanisms already on place. There is one agreement on cooperation in maritime transport, which has been finalized, negotiated. It's just waiting for adoption by the member states at the next summit.
The Raisina Dialogue is India's flagship conference on geopolitics and geoeconomics. The theme for this 9th edition is Chaturanga: Conflict, Contest, Cooperate, Create. India's Minister for Railways, Communications and IT, Ashwini Vaishnav, also took part in one of the sessions on Thursday. He said that the growth story of India that is seeing today is well thought out and planned ahead of time.
Indian Railways, as you know, is among one of the largest railway networks in the world. We carry about 7 billion people every year. 7 billion is a large number. And about 1,600 million ton of cargo we will carry this year. So, in a sense, among the top 2 systems in the world. In last 60 years,
Ashwini Vaishnav also said India is at par with Germany, which is the largest in the world in terms of electrifying the railways.
The whole economic growth story that we are seeing today is a very well thought through story. The 4 pillars on which the economic momentum is built are very clearly thought through, very focused execution has happened. All the 4 pillars, there has been consistent work over the last 10 years. The work is giving us the result.
India's External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar held bilateral meetings with Tanzania, Ghana and Slovakia in New Delhi today. Jaishankar and the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Tanzania, January Yusuf Makamba, assessed positively the progress in their bilateral cooperation. The minister also held bilateral meeting with delegation talk with Foreign Minister of Slovakia, Juráš Blanár, and reviewed the status of bilateral partnership. Foreign Minister of Ghana, Shirley Bochwe, met Dr. Jaishankar on the sidelines of Raisina Dialogue 2024. The leaders assessed the progress of their bilateral cooperation, especially development partnership. They also spoke about the need for reforms in the Commonwealth. Albania's Foreign Minister Igli Hassani emphasized bolstering ties with India, citing opportunities in tourism, agriculture, IT and manufacturing. He mentioned that progress towards EU membership is underway. DD India correspondent Taposh Bhattacharya gets us more.
India-Albania relation goes a long way. In fact, some of the Albania's language has taken from the Sanskrit, and both the countries have been pursuing the relationship going forward. I have with me the Foreign Minister of Albania as well as the Consular General of Albania in India.
I am really delighted to be here. I'm really delighted to be in Delhi and really delighted to engage with dignitaries of your country. We will increase not only the political common engagement by opening representations in both the capitals, but also we have been engaged the whole day today with people from the business community and look at opportunities that are vast, that are present, and we have just to carefully nurture and create the necessary mechanisms for that.
How do you see both the countries going forward, especially in terms of promoting tourism?
The most important aspect for a relationship between 2 countries is its people. And in the case of India and Albania, I can say that there's such a unique representation here, starting from a global icon, Mother Teresa, who every Indian knows and every Albanian is equally proud of because she was born there and spent her life in India. So that's just one example of how a people-to-people relationship between these 2 countries can grow and can be prospered. People just need to discover Albania. I would say that it is the tourism capital of the world, and if you haven't been there yet, I think you're really missing a very special moment in your life. It's not just the gateway to the Balkans, but it's the gateway to Europe.
When can we expect Albania to become a European Union member?
In the upcoming years, we are in the final steps. We are fulfilling all our obligations to become full members, and I'm hopeful and positive that this will be a reality of the upcoming years.
Both countries share a lot of words, like a lot of Albanian words came from Sanskrit.
The Albanian language is one of the oldest languages in the European continent and also in the world, but it's an Indo-European language. And the root is similar, the root is the same, and there are always these good starts that create the necessary environment. I'm pretty sure that tourism is the one that can create these mechanisms, but also the way media and entertainment can look at opportunities of sharing and discussing what more we have in joint. I can give you maybe a very simplistic example. I was a guest yesterday of your government for the opening of the Raisina Dialogue Forum, and I was looking at the menu, and I realized some of the desserts we're having the same names. And for example, we use also the fresh food. We use the word taze, which means a lot.
They know about Indian culture, Indian movies?
People of my generation and older grew up with Raj Kapoor, but also younger generations used to watch soap operas like Bidai and many other things.
Much appreciated time. So that was the Consul General as well as the Foreign Minister of Albania sharing insight of what expect from the country, and both countries are looking forward to enhance the cooperation in different fields. With camera person Vishwa, this is Tapush Bhattacharya for TD India from Delhi.
Time for a short break. Still to come on TD India News Hour. Second day of G20 foreign ministers meet underway in Rio de Janeiro. Brazil pushes for stronger representation of developing nations. Thursday's last day for Trump and his team to file pre-trial motion disputing charges related to classified documents against him. And Albanian parliament will vote on a migration deal that will let Italy build migrant processing centers on Albanian territory.
We're going to be talking about Panama-India relations, the importance of Panama in the region, and the outlook for Panama and for Latin America as they integrate deeper with India.
In today's world, Panama especially accepts and understands very well the centrality of India in the world. I think the cornerstone of our relation is common values. Panama is a lighthouse for democracy in Latin America, and India is the largest democracy in the world. The connectivity and the route that connects everyone and everything is the concept that could be already used by India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Shubhendu Ghosh. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi is on a visit to the western state of Gujrat, where he attended the Golden Jubilee celebration of Gujrat Cooperative Milk Marketing Federation.
Jai Gujrat, Jai Gujrat, Jai Jai Gardi Gujrat. Gujrat Kane Vandan, Gujrat Kane Vandan, Jai Ho. Gujrat Kane Vandan, Gujrat Kane.
At the event, Prime Minister visited the exhibition. Over 1.25 lakh farmers witnessed the event at Narendra Modi Stadium, Motera, Ahmedabad. Gujarat Cooperative Milk Marketing Federation is a testimony of resilience of cooperatives, their entrepreneurial spirit, strong determination of farmers, which has made Amul one of the strongest dairy brands in the world. And speaking on Indian dairy growth sector, Prime Minister Modi added there has been a 60% growth in milk production in the last decade.
अगर मैं पिछले 10 साल की बात करूं, तो भारत में दूध उत्पादन में करीब 60% वृद्धि हुई है। पिछले 10 वर्षों में प्रति व्यक्ति दूध उपलब्धता भी करीब 40% बढ़ी है। दुनिया में डेयरी सेक्टर सिर्फ 2% की दर से आगे बढ़ रहा है, जबकि भारत में डेयरी सेक्टर 6% की दर से आगे बढ़ रहा है।
Later in the day, Prime Minister will dedicate to the nation two largest indigenous pressurized heavy water reactors in the country. And the PHWR were built at Kakrapar Atomic Power Station, Unit 3 and Unit 4, built by the Nuclear Power Corporation of India Limited at a cost of more than 22,000 crore rupees. Both the projects have cumulative capacity of some 1400 megawatts. They are first of its kind reactors with advanced safety features comparable with the best in the world. Together, these two reactors will produce about 10 billion units of clean electricity per year, benefit consumers of multiple states like Gujrat, Maharashtra, Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Goa, Union Territory of Dadra and Nagar Haveli, and Daman and Diu. In a historic and momentous event, the holy relics of Lord Buddha, along with his disciples, arrived at the National Museum in Bangkok on Thursday morning. On February 23rd, they will be enshrined in the Royal Palace grounds called Sanam Luang by Prime Minister of Thailand. People can pay their reverence beginning from Maka Bucha Day, which will be celebrated on February 24th. This unprecedented exposition marks the first time that holy relics of Lord Buddha and his disciples are being showcased together abroad. It is a historic milestone in India-Thailand relations as well. It is expected to further boost cultural, spiritual relations between the two countries. The sacred journey will culminate on 19th March 2024, with the relics being escorted back to their respective homes, concluding a historic and spiritually enriching exposition in Thailand. And DD India correspondent Akshay Dongare joins us from Bangkok with the latest. Akshay, tell us more about this program, this exposition of taking Buddhist relics to different parts of the world, and what value do they hold for the believers?
Well, as far as the value is concerned, Shubhendu, it is unprecedented the way this exposition is being conducted, because while the exposition of Lord Buddha's relics are taking place in Thailand after a gap of about 30 years, this is for the first time in history that the relics of Lord Buddha, along with his two principal disciples, are taking place in Thailand. That in fact highlights the fact that how culturally connected India and Thailand remain as far as the religion is concerned, of Buddhism, the cultural ties are concerned, of people to people connect. And we are right now standing at the National Museum of Thailand, where the relics of Lord Buddha have been kept for now, before they get enshrined tomorrow in the Royal Palace of Thailand by the Prime Minister of the country. This in fact has become a grand celebration in the country, with people coming in, not just from all parts of or not just from all parts of Thailand, but from neighboring countries as well, including Cambodia, including Laos, where the disciples of where the followers of Buddhism are there in large numbers as well. In fact, the exposition that is going to take place for 26 days, that is starting from today and will continue till 19th of March 2024, is going to be celebrated not just here in Bangkok, but the relics will be taken and they will be showed to people from different parts of the country as well. There are 4 key places that have been selected as far as the exposition is concerned, where the relics will be taken during this course of 26 days. Shubhendu.
Akshay, thank you for those updates. Foreign ministers from G20 group of nations held discussions over world tensions and ways to improve multilateral organizations in preparation for their annual Leader Summit presided by Brazil. The first G20 ministerial meeting under the Brazilian presidency is focusing on enhancing capacity to positively influence the international agenda. On day 2, foreign ministers will also discuss on issues of poverty, climate change and global tensions. Coffee Board of India organized a buyer-seller meet at Dubai, marking a new chapter in the industry's global expansion. The event was held on the sidelines of Gulf Food 2024, jointly organized by Indian Embassy in the UAE and Coffee Board of India. Speaking at the event, Indian Ambassador to the UAE, Sanjay Sudhir, highlighted Dubai's strategic role as a global trade hub and the upcoming Bharat Mart at Jebel Ali Free Zone as enablers for India's global coffee ambitions.
Generation used to talk about chai pe charcha, but the youngsters talk about let's meet for coffee. We talk about coffee break, things like that. And coffee is actually become the kind of I would say, the hub where people meet, chat, discuss things, spend time, share their thoughts. I think it's very important for us to take advantage of this phenomenon. Many other countries have done it. I think India needs to do it even more and more.
India's Minister of State for Agriculture, Arjun Munda, speaking on the farmers' protest, stated that multiple rounds of discussions have taken place with farmer organizations regarding their concerns. He emphasized the importance of resolving issues through dialogue, expressed optimism that a mutually beneficial solution could be reached together. India's Union Minister for Information and Broadcasting, Anurag Thakur, addressed the press where he talked about provision of support prices for farmers. He spoke about how things have improved in the last 10 years under Prime Minister Modi's leadership. The minimum support price MSP for pulses, wheat and oilseeds have significantly improved.
यूपीए के 10 साल में गेहूं, धान, दलहन, तिलहन इन पर 5.5 लाख करोड़ रुपया एमएसपी की खरीद पर खर्च किया। मोदी सरकार ने 18,39,000 करोड़ खर्च किया है, जो 3.5 गुना से ज्यादा है। कहां 5.5 लाख करोड़, कहां 18,39,000 करोड़। और अगर मैं आपको दलहन की उदाहरण दूं तो 1,936 करोड़ रुपया कांग्रेस ने खर्च किया, यूपीए की सरकार ने, मोदी सरकार ने 55,000 करोड़ से ज्यादा खर्च किया। तिलहन में उन्होंने 11,000 करोड़ के लगभग खर्च किया, हमने 33-35,000 करोड़ से ज्यादा खर्च किया। गेहूं पर उन्होंने 2,80,000 करोड़ खर्च किया, हमने 12,41,000 करोड़ से ज्यादा खर्च किया।
India's Union Cabinet, chaired by Prime Minister Modi, has approved the amendment in Foreign Direct Investment (FDI) policy in space sector. The satellite subsector has now been divided into 3 different activities with defined limits for foreign investment in each such sector. The liberalized entry routes under the amended policy are aimed to attract potential investors to invest in Indian companies in space. The Cabinet has allowed up to 74% FDI under automatic route in satellite manufacturing and operation. The Cabinet approved 49% FDI for launch vehicles and associated systems or subsystems. And the government has also allowed 100% investments in making components for satellites. The Union Minister of State for Science and Technology, Dr. Jitendra Singh, applauded Prime Minister Modi for reviving the space sector in the country.
निश्चय ही एक ऐतिहासिक निर्णय, और मुझे तो कोई संकोच नहीं कहने में कि इस प्रकार का निर्णय केवल और केवल प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी की ही लीडरशिप में किया जा सकता था। क्योंकि स्पेस का सेक्टर एक ऐसा सेक्टर है भारतवर्ष में कि जो वर्षों से, लगभग 60-70 वर्ष से साइलोज में काम करता रहा, और ये समझौता कर लिया गया था कि इसी तरह से ये चलता रहेगा सिलसिला।
Let's now take a look at other stories making news. Chief Justice of India, D.Y. Chandrachud, on Thursday inaugurated an Ayush Holistic Wellness Centre at the Supreme Court premises in New Delhi. Chief Justice of India stated that holistic lifestyle is important not just for judges and their immediate families, but also for the staff members. India's latest weather satellite, INSAT 3DS, has entered the desired geosynchronous orbit above Earth to begin observations and is expected to reach in-orbit testing location by 28th of February. ISRO, in an update on Thursday, said that all 4 planned liquid apogee motor firings have been successfully completed. A 3-member delegation from National Commission for Scheduled Tribes is visiting the troubled area of Sandeshkhali in West Bengal's 24 Parganas district on Thursday to engage with local residents. The visit follows recent trips by the National Commission for Women and the National Commission for Scheduled Caste to the same area. A video of cricketing great Sachin Tendulkar playing roadside cricket with a bunch of boys in Kashmir is going viral on social media. The Master Blaster posted a video on his social media platform X with the caption, "Cricket in Kashmir, a match made in heaven."
चलो लास्ट बॉल
And still to come on DD India News Hour. Thousands of protesting farmers from across Spain converge in heart of the capital city, Madrid. Venezuela struggles with one of the largest displacement crises in the world. And the iconic Eiffel Tower remains closed for third day following a worker strike.
We're going to be talking about Panama-India relations, the importance of Panama in the region, and the outlook for Panama and for Latin America as they integrate deeper with India.
In today's world, Panama especially accepts and understands very well the centrality of India in the world. I think the cornerstone of our relation is common values. Panama is a lighthouse for democracy in Latin America, and India is the largest democracy in the world. The connectivity and the route that connects everyone and everything is the concept that could be already used by India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Shubhendu Ghosh. Our top stories. India's External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar speaks on global rebalancing, pushes for UN Security Council reforms on day 2 of the Raisina Dialogue in New Delhi. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi attends Golden Jubilee celebration of Gujrat Cooperative Milk Marketing Federation, calls women real backbone of the dairy sector. Holy relics of Lord Buddha and his disciples reach Bangkok, will be enshrined in the Royal Palace grounds by Thailand Prime Minister tomorrow. US lawmaker Mike Gallagher meets Taiwan's president-elect Lai Ching-te, reinforces support amid China threat. US lawmaker met with Taiwan's president-elect Lai Ching-te and reinforces support amid China threat. Speaking during a meeting with Lai and delegations from both sides, US Representative Mike Gallagher said, "America stands with Taiwan." Gallagher praised the recent elections in Taiwan as well as Lai's rhetoric upon winning the contest. Gallagher, the chair of the House of Representatives Select Committee on China, was accompanied by 4 other lawmakers on a trip that ends on Saturday.
And I think the message we want to send in a bipartisan fashion is that if Xi Jinping and the Chinese Communist Party were to ever make the incredibly foolish decision to attempt an invasion of Taiwan, that effort would fail. And so just please know that as you look forward to assuming the office of the presidency, America stands with Taiwan, and you can draw upon a deep reservoir of friendship and support from the United States Congress.
In a meeting with Taiwan President Tsai Ing-wen earlier, Gallagher said US delegation's trip was to show bipartisan support for the island.
Thank you, Madam President, for not only being an incredible leader here in Taiwan, but really distinguishing yourself as a leader within the free world. And today, freedom is under attack from authoritarian aggression, and we need to be more vigilant than ever if we want to pass on this gift of freedom we've been given to the next generation.
While Taiwan President Tsai Ing-wen said US government and Congress, in using the National Defense Authorization Act to help Taiwan, strengthens its defenses to protect freedoms and democracy, as well as regional peace and stability.
Taiwan is playing a crucial role in the world's peace and democracy. We will continue to strengthen our partnership with all countries and proactively engage with the world.
Donald Trump has filed a petition to dismiss charges against him for holding on to classified documents after he left the White House. It comes after the former US president admitted to retaining material during an interview on US cable news channel Fox News. DD India correspondent Nick Harper reports from Washington.
The judge in the case set a Thursday deadline for Donald Trump and his team to file pre-trial motions disputing the charges against him. He's accused of taking classified records from the White House after he left office and obstructing efforts to have them returned. Prosecutor and special counsel Jack Smith says Trump is now employing a relentless plan to try and delay the trial at any cost. The thinking being that he's trying to push the May start date back past the November presidential election in the hopes of winning that election and then getting the charges dropped when he becomes president. He's facing 41 criminal charges over the willful retention of national defence information. The documents were recovered back in August 2022 after the FBI raided his Mar-a-Lago property in Florida. And then on Tuesday evening, during a town hall interview on Fox News, the former president was asked about the documents, the host asking him why he didn't hand them over when the Justice Department requested them, to which he answered, "I didn't have to hand them over," essentially admitting wrongdoing and suggesting that he had the documents and knowingly kept them even after he was subpoenaed to return them. Trump has previously claimed that being president meant he was able to declassify documents as he saw fit, which under US law is not true. The former president is scheduled to stand trial in his first criminal case in New York next month. That one is in relation to alleged hush money payments he made to an adult film star. Nick Harper in Washington, reporting for DD India.
Albanian parliament will vote on a deal between Tirana and Rome that will let Italy build migrant processing centres on Albanian territory. The deal faces criticism from opposition and rights groups, but Albanian top court ruled it wasn't unconstitutional. Under the 5-year deal, 2 processing centres will be set up in Albania with a cost of about $650 million. The shelter will be able to accommodate around 3,000 migrants at a time. In a bid to address and share the migrant issue prevalent across Europe, the agreement was signed in November last year. From migration to farmers' woes, thousands of farmers from across Spain converged in the heart of the capital city, Madrid, on Wednesday as part of the ongoing protests against European Union and local farming policies and to demand measures to alleviate production cost hikes. The protests include a rally outside the Agriculture Ministry headquarters. Some 4,000 people participated in the biggest strike that took place in the Spanish capital after more than 2 weeks of daily protests across the country. They highlighted the impact of EU agricultural policies, which have led to rising local production costs and the influx of Ukrainian agricultural goods. The French Prime Minister says agriculture must become a fundamental national interest. In France, Gabriel Attal announced a new package for measures on February 21st to try and support the farming sector after recent protests and ahead of major Paris agriculture show this weekend. DD India correspondent Russ Cullen has more from Paris.
The French Prime Minister Gabriel Attal announced on Wednesday a new package of measures designed to try to ease the anger being felt by French farmers and also deal with the agricultural crisis in the country. Included in those measures, attempts to try to reduce the amount of paperwork that French farmers have to fill out when they want to try to employ foreign seasonal workers to pick fruit in the summer, for example. Also, the French government wants to speed up the payments that are due to France under the European Union's Common Agricultural Policy. And all of this is designed to try to deal with the protests that we've seen in France and the wider European Union by farmers blocking roads with tractors and trailers, for example, in demonstrations against red tape, cheap imports, high production costs and low salaries. All of this also in France comes into focus just 3 days before the Salon de l'Agriculture, that is one of the world's biggest agricultural shows, getting underway on Saturday here in Paris. Both the Prime Minister and the President are expected to attend, where they could come face to face with some of these angry farmers. In Paris, Ross Cullen reporting for DD India.
Let's now take a look at other stories making news around the world. Thousands of trainee doctors in South Korea vowed to stay off the job in protest at government plans to increase medical school admissions to boost the healthcare sector. Emergency departments at 3 of South Korea's biggest hospitals were on red alert. On Thursday, South Korean government has warned striking doctors to return to work immediately or face legal action. 2 people were killed after a barge collided with a bridge over a waterway in South China's Guangdong province on Thursday. The collision caused the bridge to fracture, plunging a number of vehicles into the waters. Authorities are investigating the cause of the accident, and information about casualties is still being verified. A group of young activists lobbied Australian lawmakers on Thursday for legislation that would insert a duty of care into Australian law. The legislation would oblige the government to consider how emissions-intensive projects could harm future generations before approving or funding them. Australia is a major exporter of coal and natural gas in the world. France's iconic Eiffel Tower remains closed for the 3rd day following workers' strike, calling for review of financial management by Paris City Hall. The union warned the closure could be extended as Paris City Hall refuses to negotiate. Time for a short break. Still to come on DD India News Hour. Mood of global markets amidst fear of US Fed rate hike evoked mixed reactions. Winners and losers from the last 16 clash in the UEFA Champions League first leg. And ski lovers rush to the Yalnizkam ski resort in Turkey. Stay tuned to know why.
Talking about Panama-India relations, the importance of Panama in the region, and the outlook for Panama and for Latin America as they integrate deeper with India.
In today's world, Panama especially accepts and understands very well the centrality of India in the world. I think the cornerstone of our relation is common values. Panama is a lighthouse for democracy in Latin America, and India is the largest democracy in the world. The connectivity and the route that connects everyone and everything is the concept that could be already used by India.
We're going to be talking about Panama-India relations, the importance of Panama in the region, and the outlook for Panama and for Latin America as they integrate deeper with India.
In today's world, Panama especially accepts and understands very well the centrality of India in the world. I think the cornerstone of our relation is common values. Panama is a lighthouse for democracy in Latin America, and India is the largest democracy in the world. The connectivity and the route that connects everyone and everything is the concept that could be already used by India.
Welcome back. You're watching DT India News Hour. I'm Shubhendu Ghosh. Some updates from global markets. Though the Asian equities and US stock futures rose on Thursday in a sign of fresh momentum in global equities after Nvidia Core, the world leader in artificial intelligence computing unveiled better than expected revenue forecast. Fear of US Fed rate hike evoked mixed reactions. Japan's benchmark Nikkei share average on Thursday surged past an all-time closing high scaled in December 1989 as chip-related stocks jumped after US chipmaker Nvidia's outlook beat market expectations, with revenues posting. Both the blue chip Shanghai Shenzhen CSI 300 and the Shanghai Composite indices rose marginally. Hong Kong's Hang Seng index fell 0.3%, while South Korea's Kospi rose 0.3%. Indian benchmark indices were marginally up at opening bell on Thursday, following strong cues from global stock markets, but failed to hold on to the initial gains. Sensex was up 0.07%, Nifty up 0.05% during pre-open, but slipped into red later. Singapore plans to require sustainable aviation fuel (SAF) on all flights starting from 2026, with the goal of achieving net zero carbon emissions by 2050. SAF, an alternative fuel from hydrogen or biological materials, accounts for only 0.2% of the jet fuel market as of today. The initial requirement is 1% SAF, potentially increasing to 3% and 5% by 2030. However, analysts believe that there isn't enough such fuel to meet the demand, with an estimated increase to 2,000 barrels per day in 2026 and about 10,000 barrels per day by 2030. Sam Bankman-Fried, the jail founder of bankrupt cryptocurrency exchange FTX, appeared in court on Wednesday. Bankman-Fried appeared in court for the first time since his conviction in November last year for stealing billions of dollars from FTX customers. He confirmed that he wanted to stick with his new lawyer, Mark Mugsy, and Tory Young, despite a possible conflict of interest. His lawyers also represent Alex Mashinsky, founder of the bankrupt cryptocurrency lender Celsius Networks. The lawyers will represent Bankman-Fried through his March 28th sentencing. Venezuela is struggling with one of the largest displacement crises in the world. UN agencies estimate 7.7 million Venezuelans have fled their country since 2015. In recent years, the outflow of migrants hasn't stopped, left behind an aging population. DD India's Latin American correspondent Mary Trini Miena reports.
In a small kitchen in Petare, one of the poorest slums in Venezuela, Elsa Amarista is making lunch for herself and two of her great-grandchildren. They are the ones left behind. 3 of her 4 children have left the country. Left alone to take care of them, she is now their full-time carer in an empty house. Not easy for a pensioner.
Before, I planned to extend the house so that everybody could fit in. Now I simply have too many rooms, too much of a house, too much of everything, and well, everything's deteriorating. There are no young people who can help me here.
Elderly people are among the most vulnerable in a country facing a long-lasting economic crisis. In most cases, the elderly are left at home, depending on remittances sent by their relatives living abroad. So far, millions of Venezuelans have left behind their parents and grandparents. A recent survey by an NGO estimates that about 600,000 Venezuelan adults are living alone due to migration. The once thriving oil nation has gradually lost its main workforce. And although once considered a country of young people, Venezuela is getting older.
We are losing everything because we are losing our labor force, we are losing our population, all human resources. The human capital that makes a country, we are losing it all.
It's a harsh reality repeated in most Venezuelan households. On the walls of Daddy Lu Benitez, there are only happy memories. 3 of her 5 children also migrated to Colombia and the US, driven by the lack of job opportunities and low salaries back home.
My daughter has a goal in mind, like we all have. She has a dream of having a house, something to pass on to her children, but she won't achieve that dream in Venezuela. It's extremely hard.
It's expected that the country's exodus will continue. The International Monetary Fund estimates that Venezuela's migration only will grow, reaching 8.4 million by 2025, losing more than a quarter of the country's population. Mary Trini Miena in Caracas, reporting for DD India.
Time now for all the action from the world of sports. My colleague Abhishek is joining us. For the latest, Abhishek, all eyes on the 4th test, India-England.
Yes, absolutely. And in fact, we'll start with that story itself. England
have made 2 changes to their playing 11 for the 4th test against India starting February 23rd in Ranchi. The tourists have dropped leg spinner Rehan Ahmed and brought back off spinner Shoaib Bashir, while express pacer Mark Wood makes way for Ollie Robinson, who will play his first test match in the series. England are looking to bounce back in the 4th test in Ranchi after they were hammered by 434 runs in the 3rd test in Rajkot by India. The two teams have not had a lot of turnaround time for the 4th test, but England have not given up hope, saying they would find a way to fight back and win the series 3-2. Kabaddi now. The 4th edition of Khelo India University Games are underway in northeastern city of Guwahati. Athletes from different universities across the country are participating in basketball, kabaddi, swimming, rugby, tennis, among others, and the players were highly satisfied with the arrangement made by the authorities. Speaking to DD India, winning team of women's kabaddi, Chandigarh University spoke about their journey.
We are feeling very proud that we have clinched gold medal for Chandigarh University. It's the first time that Chandigarh University women's are participating in the Khelo India University Games and we won gold. I am feeling very good that my team has put a tremendous performance. We lost to Pune in the pool stage, so we were prepared this time and played according to our plans.
Hockey updates now. India lost 2-4 against the Netherlands in shootout after its return leg FIH Pro League match ended in a 1-1 draw on Wednesday. In its first leg match in Bhubaneswar, India had defeated the Netherlands 4-2 in a shootout after 2-2 stalemate in regulation time. World number 1 Netherlands broke the deadlock through Floris Middendorp before vice-captain Hardik Singh equalized for India, who are ranked 4th. In the shootout, Arijit Singh, Hundal and Lalit Kumar Upadhyay scored for India, while Sukhjit Singh and Shamsher Singh missed from the one-on-one situation. The win gave Netherlands 2 points, while India pocketed 1 point. All right, football now. In UEFA Champions League, Napoli fought back to hold visitor Barcelona to a 1-1 draw in the first leg of their Champions League last 16 tie on Wednesday, thanks to a goal from Nigeria forward Victor Osimhen. Last year's Spanish and Italian champions, who are both struggling this season, played out a poor first half before Poland striker Robert Lewandowski put Barca ahead in the 60th minute. Osimhen equalized 15 minutes later with a fine swelling strike from just inside the box to leave the tie evenly poised ahead of the return leg in Spain on March 12th. And Porto snatched a shock last gasp 1-0 victory over Arsenal as Galeno netted a sublime effort deep in stoppage time in the Champions League last 16 tie on Wednesday. A drab clash was deadlocked until the 5th minute of added time, when Galeno curled an unstoppable effort past David Raya to send their Stadio do Dragao crowd wild. Arsenal, who had scored 21 goals in the last 5 Premier League games, were strangely subdued in attack and failed to register an effort on target throughout a cagey contest. They defended solidly enough, but may live to regret their lack of urgency, as Galeno gave Porto the edge ahead of the second leg in London on March 12th. Arsenal are seeking to reach the quarterfinals for the first time since 2010, with their last 7 Champions League campaigns all ending in last 16. And Anush Agarwala, who secured India's first ever Olympic quota in equestrian dressage event, spoke exclusively with DD India's Deepika. Let's take a listen to understand more about his journey and way ahead.
Anush, first of all, many congratulations to you for making the country really proud. What are the challenges and hardships that you faced in your journey, Anush?
Hi, first of all, thank you for having me. It's my pleasure. Of course, my journey, I would say the journey of any successful sports person has not been an easy one. It's not always been about victories and glories. There have been a lot of hardships along the way. I think one of the biggest struggles I had was when shifting to Germany at the age of 17. I came from a very sheltered life in India. I never had to do cooking, cleaning, my laundry, and shifting to Germany, having to do all of these things on my own. And also I did not know any people at the time in Germany, and also I did not know the language. So, tackling all of these, as well as learning to ride, to really learn how to about the sport, because I was really not at a high level at that time. Just managing everything as well as along with my studies has obviously been very difficult, but yeah, I'm just proud of how everything turned out.
Now, when we talk about your preparations, we are really thankful that you took your precious time out to talk with us, because you are now in the middle of Paris Olympics preparations. But tell us, how are you actually preparing for the mega event?
To be honest, of course, I'm very excited about the event, but I'm not really doing anything in particular just for the Paris Olympics. I will continue my my training schedule like I've always done it. I don't want to change anything. Of course, with competing more, with more shows, we gain more experience. Then, of course, we learn a lot of things from experience, and then I will adapt my training, my riding on the basis of these experiences. But I will not do anything different. I will, yeah, just do what I've always been doing, just working hard, focusing on myself, and just excited to see how the journey goes.
All right, Anush Agrawala bagging quota for India in Paris Olympics 2024. That's all we have in sports stories. Back to you, Shubhendu.
Expectations running high from the Paris Olympics in India. Thanks, Abhishek, for those updates. And ski lovers rushed to the Yal Niskam ski resort in Turkey as snow depth reached some 1.5 meters. Locals, tourists enjoy skiing and snowboarding on a ski trek of 12 kilometers in the Turkish resort in the province of Ardahan. What a treat. Well, that's all for this edition of DD India News Hour. Let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. You can connect with us on Facebook, X and Instagram. You can also find us online on ddindia.co.in. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Shubhendu Ghosh from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India News Hour. Namaskar.